Hello everyone who isn't asleep. Today I'm going to tell you a story that will make your blood run cold. This isn't just fiction, but a story based on very real fears. The fears of loneliness, darkness, and what might be lurking in the familiar things around us. Get comfortable, put on your headphones, and get ready. The story is called The Night Stream. Lyoka was an ordinary streamer. Not a Twitch star, of course, but he had his own small audience. He mostly played horror games, ironically commenting on the jump scares and clumsy monsters. His signature was his Friday night streams, a special, almost intimate atmosphere when it was dark outside and only the most loyal viewers were in the chat. That Friday, everything was business as usual. Lyoka, sipping a cold energy drink, was wandering through a virtual haunted house in a new popular game. The viewers in the chat were lazily messaging each other, making jokes about another scary doll in the corner of the screen. "Oh, come on, guys," Lyoka chuckled, addressing the chat. "What are you afraid of? It's just pixels. Now, if something like that happened in my apartment right now, that would be some content." And as in response to his words, something fell to the floor in the kitchen with a dull thud. Lyoka flinched and took off his headphones. There was no one else in the apartment. He lived alone in an old Stalin-era apartment with high ceilings and creaky floors. "Did you guys hear that?" he asked, putting his headset back on. The chat came alive. User 123, "They're trolling you, Lyoka." Night Owl, "A real-life jump scare." Koshka Sabaka, "It's probably a cat." "I don't have a cat," Lyoka smirked nervously. "All right, I'll go check. Don't go anywhere. This is an exclusive." He stood up, adjusting his webcam so the viewers could see the hallway leading to the kitchen. For some reason, his heart started beating faster. He flicked the switch in the hallway, but the light bulb only flickered dimly and went out. "What the?" he muttered, pulling out his phone and turning on the flashlight. In the narrow beam of light, the hallway seemed longer and darker than usual. The old parquet floor under his feet creaked as if someone was walking behind him. He entered the kitchen, scanning the space with his flashlight. A saucepan was lying on the floor by the refrigerator. Strange. It had been on the stove, far from the edge. It couldn't have fallen on its own. He picked it up, put it back in its place, and was about to go back when he suddenly froze. On the tiled floor, where the saucepan had just been, there were wet tracks. Not from a cat. They looked like the prints of bare human feet, but they were somehow wrong, elongated. And they led from the window to the center of the kitchen, where they ended. A cold sweat broke out on Lyoka's skin. The kitchen window was tightly shut with an old Soviet-style latch. He shone his light on it. The lock was in place. Returning to his room, he sat down at his computer. His face was pale. "Guys, something weird is going on here. There are tracks in the kitchen," he said in a trembling voice. He couldn't speak anymore. He quickly Googled "wet tracks in apartment" and stumbled upon urban legends about mukrushniks, the spirits of the drowned who come to homes before a disaster. Lyoka laughed nervously, but the laugh came out choked. The chat was exploding with messages. Some advised him to call the police, others to sprinkle holy water everywhere, and some just wrote, "Peep it coming." And then, in his headphones, he heard a quiet, barely audible whisper. It didn't sound like a game audio. It was a woman's voice, humming some old lullaby. Lyoka tore the headphones from his head. The room was silent. "Did you hear that?" He typed into the chat with shaking hands. He couldn't speak anymore. He put his headphones back on, and there was the whisper again, but this time louder, closer. It sounded as if it was coming from right behind him. Slowly, terrified, Leoka began to turn around. At that moment, the webcam pointed at him, hissed, and the image dissolved into static. For a split second, before the screen went black, the viewers in the chat saw something that made them scream in their own apartments. Behind Leoka's shoulder, in the dark corner of the room, stood a tall, thin figure. It was completely black, as if cut out from the darkness itself. But that wasn't the scariest part. The figure had no face, only a smooth, shiny surface from which dark water was slowly dripping, leaving dark, elongated tracks on the floor. The stream cut out. That stream never came back on. Alexei's channel is still inactive to this day. The police, called by concerned viewers, found the apartment empty. The door was locked from the inside. On the floor in the room and in the kitchen there were drying wet tracks. Alexei himself was never found. What was it? A glitch in the game that bled into reality? Or something ancient that came from the darkness outside, drawn by his careless words? We'll never know. But I know one thing for sure. The next time you're home alone at night, listen closely. And if you hear the sound of a saucepan falling in the kitchen, it's better not to go and check. Good night, if you can sleep.